Good evening and welcome to the Parent Academy Power Hour, the importance of literacy. My name is Sheila Kane and I'm the District Coordinator for Family and Community Engagement. We're happy you've taken the opportunity to participate tonight. Just take a minute, we're going to cover the virtual ground rules. Participants, if you would just stay muted when you're not speaking, if there's an opportunity for you to unmute and join in, we will give you that direction. And if you feel like it, we'd love to see your beautiful faces. So you could turn your video on. Also, we're going to use the chat box for questions tonight. And the questions will be answered at the end of each of the presentations. We have a panel tonight. So at each of the speakers ending their presentation, we will take those questions. And then we'll move on to the next speaker given the time frame. So tonight we have a panel, as I said, from our community to talk about literacy and the available supports. From our club, we have Constance Shaw, who will talk about the Read Strong program. From Renaissance, we have Irene Castro, who will talk about Mayan. From the Shirley Proctor Puller Foundation, we have Bridget Heller talking about Master Kids. And last but not least, both from our Juvenile Welfare Board, we have Danielle Hintz talking about the grade level reading campaign, and Jamie Peel, who's providing our tech support. What a great lineup for our session tonight. Danielle Hintz from the Juvenile Welfare Board is going to start us off. So Danielle, it's all yours.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for taking time to be here today to support your kids, especially during this challenging time that we're all going through together. The Juvenile Welfare Board, or JWB, is all about kids in Pinellas County. So we do a number of things to support families. We fund a variety of programs throughout the county. Some of those are within literacy, so I'm going to kind of focus on that. Within literacy, we have before and after school program providers. We provide a lot of summer camps. We partner with Pinellas County Schools for the Summer Bridge program and wraparound for that, so families can have their kids in care all day. You know, early learning, we provide all kinds of supports to early learning providers so that families can get the care that they need. We have a lot of resources, so I'm going to ask Jamie to list our website in the chat, www.jwbpinellas.org. Information we talk about tonight can be accessed there, as well as access to food resources and other things that may be helpful for families. And if you can like our Facebook page, we put tips out every day that are really specific to the community and might have information that you can pass along or that you might need yourself. So in addition to funding programs, we also bring people together around issues impacting families throughout the county. And one of those is our grade level reading campaign called Early Readers, Future Leaders. And we've been doing this together with our community for the past 5 years. And really the purpose is to have all kids reading on grade level. Right now, throughout Pinellas County, about 56% of our kids are reading on level. And in some communities, it's much lower than that. And so we have a lot of work to do. Our goal for 2025 is that at least 80% of all of our kids will be reading on level, because of course, that's the foundation for learning. For students to learn, they have to attend school and be engaged. And this is even more challenging now with about 40% of our kids attending remotely. As of last year, 17% of our kids missed 10% or more of school, and that can amount to almost a month of school per year. And of course, that impacts their success in school. And our goal for 2025 is that 95% will miss less than 10%. And then we also work on the importance of being ready for school. So our goal for 2025 is that 95% of all of our children will be ready for kindergarten. Of course, with all those goals, we really want 100%, but these are what we're working towards. So in addition, our campaign provides direct support for programs and for kids. We give out a lot of books and resources in the community. Last year alone, we gave out over 20,000 books. We worked with the school system and we had the book bus last year and the year before. And this year with COVID-19, we weren't able to do that. But we give out books. We have small community libraries and places where families naturally go. Housing authorities, WIC offices, and most recently, we're adding barbershops to that list. We know that we want to have books that where kids naturally go and families go. And I want to also mention we have tips and resources. I think I mentioned our site, but we also have 3 of our partners here, partner organizations that not only are part of our campaign, but do all kinds of other things in the community for literacy. So I'd like to first introduce Constance Shaw with the Art Club. She runs the Read Strong program, which is really our community and family arm of the grade level reading campaign. And they've been working hard even with the pandemic to get information out. So she'll talk about some resources that they have for families. And then Irene will follow and talk about Mayan, which is a really important platform that's available for free for families throughout the county through JWB support. So I will pass it off to Constance to tell us about Read Strong.
Thank you, Danielle. Good afternoon. Well, good evening now. Good evening, everyone. I am Constance Shaw from our club. The resource is Read Strong, Pinellas. I am the Literacy Outreach Coordinator. We also have our website and where you can find our tips and resources all about Read Strong. And as you can see right now, Jamie just put it up, thank you. And over to the left, if you click on tips and resources, it will show you how to click, it will tell you to click on your child's age or grade. All of them are updated except grades 6 through 8 and 9 through 12, which are under construction. And I'm really working hard to get resources for those grades. But in the meantime, for parents and instructors, if you want help for your child, you can click on the Help for My Child section. And when you click on that, it gives you a fillable form. You fill that form out and click send, and it will come directly to me or to the specialist, and we will get in touch with you for that part. So when you fill out that information, it will come directly to us. Also, when you go to the third one, it says about Read Strong. I hope I'm not going too fast. It tells you exactly what Read Strong is all about, how we help in the community and how we help families and help those children be on grade level. And we do this to inspire readers of all ages. We want everyone to be strong and use reading as their superpower. Then we go down to where it says, what is grade level reading? When you get to what is grade level reading, if you don't know what it is, this is a snapshot of how you can find out what your what grade level your child is on and their virtual skill. And it has requests for information and help. So you click on that and that information will come to me and the specialist as well. And then it gives an explanation of what is grade level reading. There are some things on our site when you click on the help part that it says there's a waiting list, but we have just opened up the waiting list. We're removing the waiting list part because now we have some available slots from our summer campaign where we did Reading is Our Superpower. And for those who want to donate books, we take in-kind donations. So you can donate for books, you can donate books, or you can donate via PayPal and we purchase the books. Okay, so you can see all of those. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat and then we'll answer them as soon as we can. But we want everyone to become a strong reader. That is our goal. And since, I would say since March, we have distributed over 9,000 books throughout the community to grab-and-go sites and other food pantry sites. So we are on top of it, and we're really, really excited about Read Strong. We are excited about our babies, our children, I should say, reading and making them stronger. Also on the website, if you would go to About Read Strong, I'm sorry, Jamie, go back to About Read Strong and scroll all the way up. There is one of our partners from by Renaissance, and it's called Mayan. And I'm pretty sure parents, your children already know about Mayan. If you mention it, they will be able to tell you all about it. So right now we're gonna have my co-laborer, Irene, to talk about Mayan.
Thank you, Constant, for that. Good evening, everyone. So I am Irene Castro, and I am the Mayan Project Manager for Pinellas County Schools, and for Pinellas County, for the entire county, for community. And this is our website, and we created this website for the community. So you have ways to register on Mayan. So we have 3 different ways that Mayan is available to your children. The first way is that they can register. So if they click on that first register, that means that they do not have an account with Mayan. So if they're in a Pinellas County school, they go in through Clever, a single sign-in, and they'll see the Mayan logo there that they can just log in. And if they're community school that has Mayan, or a private school or charter school that already has Mayan, they already have their username and password. But if you have any kiddos from birth through 5th grade that does not have Mayan, this is the way to go. You click here and you can register now, and it prompts you, make sure that you have your information, your kiddos' information. You have to have an address in Pinellas County, because this is made possible by our funding partners of JWB, United Way, and the Pinellas County School District, so that every child in Pinellas County from birth through 5th grade has access to over 6,500 digital library books. So then you will continue the process, and it will give you a login information. You will agree to the terms, and then it emails you, and you have to have a working email in order to register. Then it will email you your child's password and username. And then you also have access to log in through the website, if you click on the middle, Jamie, thank you. It takes you directly to log in, and you would put in homeschool at that time if you want, once you get your registration and your username and password, and you have access to 6,500 books to read and have fun reading. And then if we go back to the home page and you see the login through Clever, if you click on that one, it'll take you to the portal for students to go into Clever and do their single sign-in. So very easy to use. And the great thing is that we have resources on this website. So if you scroll down, and everything's in English and in Spanish, if you scroll down, um, you always have these what do you call, like banners up of things that are new. And right now what's happening is our fall challenge. We just got out of our back to school challenge. We had 45 winners. We had top schools banners being sent out, all made possible by JWB. And then we also had a summer challenge. So you can go back, if you go here, this is our Vote to Books challenge happening right now. So remember, your vote counts. If you keep going, scrolling down, Jamie, you have your flyers in Spanish and in English, and all the students have to do is read on their grade band those 5 books, and then they will vote for their favorite. If you keep scrolling down, it's very easy. There goes the ballot. They go in there, they put in their favorite book, and then just like the primaries right now, right? And this is the primary time. And then what happens is those 2 books that get selected by the voices of the kids, then we will have another voting for those 2, just like what we're doing now with the presidents, right? We're voting for one or the other. So we get to vote for the book. And while you're voting, we're putting your names down and randomly picking winners for those that are voting. And the top schools get a banner, and the top voters get a prize. So we're pretty excited about the voting. But if you click right there, Jamie, on the top where it says reading campaigns, if you look at all the campaigns that we've had so far, back to school, summer reading, spring challenge, all the winners are announced there. So you can see, make sure that if your kiddo won and you didn't get a response that you won, you can just email me and we'll send you your prize. But all the prizes were wonderful. We had Kindle Fires, we had earbuds. We just had wonderful prizes to give out. So as you can see, thank you, Jamie. You're really good at this. And so those are all the winners from all the schools. And so you can go back and look at all the winners. And then the last thing that I want to share with you is up on the top where it says resources, right next to reading campaign. or you can see there's community resources, faculty if you're in a school, family resources, and videos that you can watch. So let's go to the family one. I want to show you all the cool things that you have there and resources. So everything, like I said, is in Spanish and English. And if you keep scrolling down, you have ways to log in. We have actually summer fun activities that you can be using right now, even the STEM activity. We're still having STEMtober happening. So there's some great books there and activities. And then we have these reading tips that I love, absolutely love, because they're in English and Spanish, and it gives you great tips for you to do while you're reading with your kiddos. And if you keep scrolling down, then it takes you right back to the community, faculties, and videos. And you can go in, have fun looking at all the videos and all the educated resources and community resources that we have on Maya. Thank you. I think we go back to Danielle.
Yeah, so I wanted to say thank you for both of you going through that. I had a couple of questions. One, I know we have Tyrone Middle School represented here, and I think because we focus on elementary school, when JWB supported some of the contests, that was our focus. Can the middle school students participate as well?
So right now, Mayan is from birth through 5th grade. And we are actually working with the middle schools to get Mayan in the middle school. However, because of the register, they can register to get Mayan for free, but they wouldn't be part of like the contest and everything else because of the grade that they're in. Right now, it's just from birth through 5th grade. But we're working on it. We're really working on it because I know a lot of middle schoolers, like the elementary schools kiddos are going to middle school, and when they find out that they don't have Mayan, they get really sad.
So if any of our Tyrone Middle School students want to go on Mayan and read books, they can do that.
Well, they can register for a free account for now, but they wouldn't be part of because it's not part of the funding right now to go beyond 5th grade.
Gotcha. So maybe if they wanted to read to siblings or do some other things. I also wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about how I know Mayan, you can highlight the words and they can read out loud. So if you've got younger children or parents that English is their second language, can you talk about that feature a little bit, Irene?
Yes, absolutely. So Mayan has a read aloud feature for like the lower level books. And the great thing is that it does the tracking of reading as well. They can do sticky notes. They can write response to their reading. And another great thing is that 10% of our collection is in Spanish. So they can have the books read in Spanish as well.
Great. And I had one other thing I wanted to note. I know that when you download books, for some kids, internet access might be a challenge, or they might want to do something elsewhere where they don't have internet. Can you tell us how many books you can download and still access them later?
Yeah, so you could download up to 20 books offline. So you can go to any, like, Starbucks, anywhere that has internet and download 20 books and go home and read them offline. And the great thing is that once the kiddos go back online, it'll register all the books that they read. So we'll continue tracking their reading.
That's great.
And those resources, that resource page that I showed you on Mayan, where it says family, it tells you exactly how to do it, the offline reading.
Very good. I'm going to check the chat to see if we have any other questions regarding Mayan or regarding Read Strong, or I think people can raise Jamie, is there a raise hand feature on here too?
There is. If you click more, there's 3 dots. You can clap. You can use that as raise hand.
Or you can I'm going to look through the screen to see if anyone has a hand raised or a question.
I don't see any hands right
Okay.
now. I know
Question,
Robin.
Danielle. I'm sorry I didn't put it in the chat, but can anyone just go over some strategies for students either in elementary or middle that are struggling with fluency or comprehension? And how can some of these tools assist them with those issues?
So can I start, Danielle, with that? Okay. So with Mayan, the read aloud feature helps with the fluency, because then they can help. They can listen to the words and the vocabulary. And the great thing is that you can set the Mayan to track every word for the little ones. So as they listening to the word, it's highlighting the word. So it's recognizing the patterns. And we have a lot of emergent books in Mayan as well that have repetition, which will help for beginner readers.
Thank you. Does anyone else on our panel have anything to add to that?
As far
Go
as far
ahead.
as Read Strong is concerned, if you go to the in the tips and resources, and you click on the child's grade or age, there will be tips in there, except for grades 6 through 8 and 9 through 12, as I said before. But if you just say the child is in kindergarten, in second grade, I'll click on that, and it'll tell me what tips I can use, what tips to do, either for attendance, and then there's Mayan on there. And there's some that talk about fluency as well. So if you go on to the website and click on tips and resources and that particular child's age or grade, there are some tips in there for you. And if you need any additional tips, my number and email is in the chat. You can contact me and I can search for some for you.
Same here for me. If I'll
Yeah.
put my information in the chat for everyone.
And so I would just add, I haven't had my opportunity to really speak about our program or anything like that yet, but what I would say is around comprehension and fluency, I'm going to talk a little bit about Khan Academy, which will also enable you to work specifically on those types of skills with any grade, depending on the grade, up through high school. So I'll talk a little bit about that, because I think that would be helpful. And then the only other thing that I would offer is one of the best ways to actually work on fluency is for caring adults to read with children. We did a program just last week called Reading with Our Elders, where we set up a Zoom session with 12 of our students and 12 elders from the community. And all they were just caring people who, you know, really appreciated the opportunity to meet with our children and encourage them and things like that. And we sent out a list of questions ahead of time that they could then ask the students as they went through. The teachers practiced a little bit with the students in terms of how they introduced themselves and introduced their books and their content. And so it was a real experience in how they could, again, really work on, they could actually interpret comprehension from the adult's face, right? Is this person understanding what I am reading? And then get that feedback directly from the adult. So I think that, again, some of the people were grandparents, and one of the biggest pieces of feedback we got from some of the grandparents was, this is absolutely the best way to work on fluency with children, is just to have them read with other caring adults. So that's what I would offer.
Excellent. So unless we have double check the chat, I don't see other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. Bridget Heller is with the Shirley Proctor Puller Foundation, and they have a Master Kids program that runs in the summer and now after school. I'm proud to say JWB is a funder of that program, because we've already seen some really great outcomes. And I also want to mention that Bridget is very involved beyond what she does there, and as part of our grade level reading campaign, like the other partners that are on the line here too, but just really invested in literacy. So she's going to share some tips and some resources with you all that will go back into this conversation about what can we do for our kids.
Thanks very much, Danielle. And I want to say, first of all, thanks to Danielle and JWB, as well as the Pinellas County School System, for really hosting this type of session, because I think it's great for parents, as well as, you know, teachers. And then the second thing I want to do, I know there are a lot of teachers on the line, so I do want to take the opportunity to do a shout out to the teachers, to just say we truly, truly appreciate you guys and know that you're working really, really hard right now. So thanks very much for everything that you're doing to help our kids to overcome, you know, the learning challenges and really get to that grade level reading fluency, that grade level reading piece, and particularly around fluency and comprehension, actually. I'm going to talk a little bit about SPF, but I'm going to talk mostly about some of the programs that we use outside of SPPF, because our mindset around this, and this is just something that I offer up, is actually we think about the long term for children. We actually wanted very much to get involved with closing the achievement gap for children, but really thinking about that in terms of how to prepare them for the long-term job environment and things of that sort. That's really our goal, is not just to have them read, but to have them be prepared for a future workforce. So our mindset around this particular time in COVID is a little different than some others. We actually feel this is a huge, huge opportunity for all of us, because it's an opportunity to teach our kids to be independent learners. So, and I really truly believe that independent learning is going to be the key to preparing them again for a future workforce. When you think about it, it's sort of like the teach a man to fish adage, right? If you give a man a fish, he may eat for a day or two. If you teach a man to fish, he can live for a lifetime. And so that's sort of how we look at this time right now, because we really believe that, yes, it is really important for kids to learn how to read and how to perform on-site with on-site education. We really appreciate everything that the schools are doing in that front. But we also believe that it's really important, and it's a great opportunity for children to learn to operate independently. And often operating independently can mean operating and finding your own answers through things like online support. So I'll just show you a few of the things that we use in our program to really support that. And our goal is truly to just provide helpful hints here. So, and you know, just ask any questions that you want. So I'm going to try and share my desktop. Let's see if I can do that. Or actually, I'll share my Google Chrome stuff. And I think that you have, I had two files that I was trying to upload, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to just sort of exit out of the chat, and then I'll upload them at the end. But at any rate, so let's start with Sesame Street, thinking about some of the younger kids. Now, I know people say, okay, you know, you shouldn't really be doing games with the children and this and that. And actually at Master Kids, we don't really believe that. Master Kids, by the way, is an academic enrichment program. It's one of the few out-of-school programs that is strictly about academic enrichment. It doesn't mean that we don't let them play. It means the core of the program is really built around helping them to close the achievement gap. We do that largely through a reading plus STEAM curriculum. We believe that we really like, again, focusing on the reading aspect, but we really believe that STEAM allows an opportunity for children to practice the skills that they learn in both reading and math classes. So in the summer, we offer reading support, we offer math classes independently, and then we also offer this STEAM curriculum, which they absolutely love. It's building robots. All of you guys, most of you as teachers and parents know what STEAM is, but it's robots, it's all kinds of other things that they get to build. The biggest thing this summer was all around airplanes and building their own little airplanes and things of that sort and getting them to fly. But we do that, and that's our focus. And this year we've been doing a lot remotely. So I'm sure that Jamie's putting our information in the chat. And so if you'd like to learn more about SPPF, please do go either to our website and or give me a call, and I'm happy to chat about it. We do have openings at this point, and we'd be happy to talk with anyone who's interested in learning more. So now let's just talk about Sesame Street. I think we all grew up with Sesame Street, but most of the time people think, oh, this is just games. Like, why would you bother with Sesame Street and games for children? And I actually would ask you to take another look at Sesame Street, particularly if you're working with preschoolers, or even if you're working with children that are just trying to master early learning or early reading. And that's because they do have games that actually make letter identification. And if you click on brain games, for example, they have a lot of different things here that they'll present in videos and in games. And much of it is like a matching kind of a setup. I'll try to expand my screen, and their way I'll be able to click down here. So like, for example, if you do, okay, I can see shapes, or, you know, they can identify shapes. They can do word play where they can, again, identify words. It's not to take anything away from the opportunity to have them read like they do with a Mayan and actually do the following with their finger. That stuff is absolutely wonderful, and it's imperative, particularly as they grow older. But this is also a great place to start, and it feels more like play. And so we find that the kids are actually really much more engaged, and they're happy with it. So that's one thing I would say. The other thing about Sesame Street that's also kind of interesting is that when you utilize this, utilize the Sesame Street tools, you can also get some very topical information. Right now, there is a big push to talk to children around what do you do about race, or how do you talk to children about race? And Sesame Street, I think, does a beautiful job of talking to young children about very, very hot topics. This one happens to be about race, and it's an opportunity for you to sit down with children. And so you could recommend it to your families. You could even use it in a teaching module of some sort, but to really sit down and have conversations about race and about race words or other types of things like that. And again, it's not heavy. It's not, you know, in any way harmful. It is just an opportunity for people to, you know, to participate and to do something, I think, very interesting. Another program that we use a lot and that is available to parents, hold on, I'm trying to scoot around all the little other stuff, is a program called Cahoots. I'm sure all of you as teachers probably are well aware of Cahoots. I am not a teacher. I am my background is in business. And so the teachers have really taught me about this program. They do a great job here. You can sign up as parents. You can use Cahoots to make flashcards for your children. We've used sight words, for example, in this setting with Cahoots, and then you run through it. And if you talk about fluency, you can actually put up sentences and things of that sort and allow them to practice with this tool as well. It's just a very interesting and cool kind of tool, because you can build out, you know, in your free time, you can build it out like 11 o'clock at night, which tends to be when you're free, at least for me. You can build out something that you really want to use with a student, and then you can go back the next day, and it's a very, again, it's a very integrated, a very interesting way for them to follow, and it feels like play, because our kids really, really love it. In part, we do test with it quite often, but in no way do the kids feel like they are doing drills or that they're being, you know, put upon. They really love it because it is more like play. Sometimes as parents, because I thought, you know, parents were going to be the primary audience for this, I pulled out a few things that constitute sort of more entertainment-like, but educational entertainment that you can use to help children, again, either build skills or reinforce. And one of my favorites is actually the Smithsonian Learning Lab. They have just a bunch of cool things here that you can use to teach kids around discovery and around creation. They really are, or innovation. This is really a very interesting site. So I encourage parents to also take a look here. They have lots of resources. They're often broken out by age group. This summer, what we did was we actually we chose several field trips, sort of remote field trips, if you will, from the Smithsonian Learning Lab, and some experiences or experiments, and we loaded them into our learning module, or our whatever the LMS stands for, but we loaded it into Schoology, which is our LMS, and the kids could go on whenever they want. And we found that you know, after the teaching was done in the morning, the kids would often come back and they would do a discover cycle, or they would work around with some of the other things, some of the other tools that were offered by the Smithsonian. So I really would encourage you as parents and even as teachers to take a look at the Smithsonian site, the Learning Lab piece. And then one of our favorites, and I'll just play a little bit of this story, is one of our new favorites is a series that was recently done by Netflix. And what this series does is it actually utilizes authors or famous actors, usually actors of color or culturally relevant actors. And what they do is they actually are reading to children. So if you're looking for a read aloud, a lot of times parents have told us that they come home and they know they're supposed to read to their kids, but they're exhausted and they just really don't want to. This is a very, very cool way. I don't know if you can hear that, so I hope you can.
We can hear it.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit. This is a young lady by the name of, I think it's Marley is her name.
Like me to be librarian
and she's really
of
great.
Congress.
Let's see.
Stephanie Johnson, the first girl like me to be a Delta Airlines
So I got
pilot.
to the wrong one, so we knew that something was gonna go wrong here. Let's see if we can go back and I can choose a different one. I wanna get to the one that I was reading because I think that she is fantastic. This is also one of my favorites, which is Tiffany Haddish. I don't know how many people know the story of Tiffany Haddish, but she actually did not read until she was a middle schooler. And so this is a wonderful, wonderful book that she reads that really talks about your hair, and it's just fantastic. So let's see what this is. This is what
This book
this
is
is Jill
filled with
Scott.
all things little brown boys love. This book is called Brown Boy Joy. Are you ready? Okay. I am Brown Boy Joy, and I shine like gold, smiling ear to ear. Boom, smash, bam, pow. I am fearless and I'm bold.
So I think you get the idea. The one thing that I really love about this series, and again, it's a Netflix series, is I love the production. Very often when you listen to people that are doing read alouds, it's like, you know, there's an author and they're holding the book up or something of that sort. And it just doesn't have as much, I don't know, excitement and integrated flair for the children. I also love the fact that they're using real actors or performers like Jill Scott, who can really bring this book to life, which is what you want to model for parents and actually what, you know, you want to do with the children as well. So I really love that. And that is one of my favorite things that I would recommend that you do. So my final recommendation in this space, I'm going to get to my final video, but my final recommendation in terms of things that I'm going to click on is really around parent advocacy. I know oftentimes people have parents asking a ton of questions about sort of, where is my child on this or that? Does this child have a disability? How do I really navigate through that? We have parents who are asking that all the time. And one of the sites that we like is a site called understood.com. And it understood.org. What they do is they really run through the disability categories for parents, and they actually provide a lot of interesting resources to help parents advocate for themselves. One of them is a checklist actually about how to prepare for a meeting, either with the school or with someone to talk about your child's disability and to talk about what your child may have done, for example, during the summer to be prepared for school. So I'll put that that specific thing in the chat, but they go through in very, very simple and easy to use language. They go through the definitions of some of the disabilities. They give people ideas on what they can do and how they can find help around specific disabilities. So again, this is one site that I really love. I don't have a lot of time to spend going through the details of it, but I really love this site. for, again, answering those questions. Now, the final thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask actually Jamie to share on my behalf. We've taken a look at Khan Academy, and actually, just so you know, actually I should have kept sharing for just 1 minute, Jamie. Khan Academy is actually one of my very favorite sites for the reasons that I said. You can be very, very specific within Khan Academy about what types of skills you want a child to work on. And you can actually, I'll go to Khan right here. You can sign up as a teacher or a parent. I'm sure teachers are very, very familiar with it, but parents are typically not. And so sometimes what we do is we work in a more integrated way with a parent and a learner, or a parent, they call it a learner, we call it a student or a scholar. You can work in an integrated way to get them accustomed to this site, and then you can really help them to learn on their own by practicing very specific skills. So I'm gonna now let Jamie share a video that one of our teachers made while doing this. Now, I will apologize in advance. She's a math teacher, so she did a math example, but it'll give you at least a flavor for just how specific you can be in targeting your product toward them, or your messaging.
Sorry, let me try that again.
Okay.
For some reason, it just... Okay, hold on 1 second.
There we go.
So Khan Academy is a great resource, and I am going to show you how. So first you log in and you set up an account as a teacher, parent, or a student. Right now I am set up as a teacher. So once you're set up with your account, you go in and you select add a class. You click dashboard to get here, and then you go to add a class. I am going to use Jason's Math for an example. That's the name of the class. And it's asking me to add a new class. But once you go to once you add Jason's Math, you go ahead and you select that class. And now you're going to create a roster. So you can either do this by sharing the class code with your kids, or you can add new students and it will create an account for them. So you can click create your student's account. And we're going to go with Jason Jones. So Jason Jones' username is now Jason Jones 696. He will use that to log in. And this is his password, so you can go ahead and write that down. Then you click create accounts. We're going to skip this because we're not doing a full class. The class is now created. So to assign Jason some practice, you will now add a course. So let's say Jason is in 4th grade and he is taking math class, or he needs help with math class. We're going to select 4th grade math. And say it's the beginning of the year and he's working on place value. You can either assign the entire unit by clicking this box, or you can go down and you can specify exactly what unit you need help, or Jason needs help with. So say it's writing whole numbers in expanded form. You can select whether you would like him to view a video and an exercise and read an article, or you can just select, okay, I just want him to do the video and the exercise. And you can also go on down and then do a quiz if you like, if that's all he needs help with. There are also unit tests. Say he's preparing for a test and you want to know exactly what he needs help with. You can just go ahead and assign the unit test. So you click assign, and the question set, well, we're only working with one student, so I'm going to leave it different question set for each student, but you can always change that, and you can give a due date.
I think we should stop there, Jen, because I think that what I really was trying to share, I think you get a sense of that you could see when she was building that site that it had all of the different things that you might work on through the standards, for example, in fourth grade math. It's the same with fourth grade reading. You can then choose specific skills within that standard for that child to really practice. And you can assign videos that will enable practice. You can assign little coursework that will enable practice. And we actually did this really very, very aggressively over the last couple of weeks because, as some of you will know, many children were actually taking final exams, which were to me like just mind-boggling because I was like, final exams, oh my God, it's only October. But they were taking like end of term or something of that sort of exams. And so for our fourth graders and fifth graders in particular, we did use this tool to sort of assign very specific things, verb tenses, things that were, things that we could see that they needed a little extra practice with. And it just worked beautifully. So that's really it. That's what I wanted to offer you this evening. And if there are other questions or anything like that, I'd be happy to try to answer. Thank you very much.
Bridget, nicely done. A lot of great resources, and I know Jamie was putting them in the chat. Can I ask you the name of the Netflix series? I think I have it saved on my watch.
If I can actually load up my, if I can actually put in, Jamie, actually, you know what? You may be able to do it. I sent it to you. You did it. Okay, yeah. So you did it. So if
I'll
you
have it again.
Okay, yeah. So if you look at, I see it right up there. If you look, Jamie has already put into the chat a little PDF that is, it says SPPF resources. That is actually a list of everything I shared this evening so that you can then track to it. In addition to that, there are a couple of other tutor names, like Denise Ford is there because she actually does work in the community that is fantastic, and she can help with academic enrichment. And there are a few other resources. Bees Learning is there as well. So just other, others that are as committed to Promise Time, those kinds of things that are really, really, truly committed to trying to address the achievement gap with our children.
It says that we can't save that. Or it tells me I don't have permission to save what was in the feed.
Okay, I will send it out. If you put here's what we'll do. If you put your email in the chat.
This is Sheila. We're going to send out the recording and all the resources in an email to all the registrants tomorrow. Okay. So if you guys send it to me, then I'll make sure I include it. And then we, if people didn't catch it in the chat, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to.
That's okay. Thank you very much, Sheila, because that would be perfect. Thank you very much.
And the links are also in the chat.
Yes, the links are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have questions for Bridget and the resources that she shared? I see Denise Ford is here with us too, which is great.
Oh, Constance, I didn't know your cousin was the author of I Love My Hair. Yes.
Great. That's great.
Sorry, it's one of my favorite books. And when you watch, if you watch Tiffany Haddish do the story, at the end, there's a very cool surprise.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, this is the original book. This is the one she sent me years ago.
Oh, wow. I love that book. We have, our kids love that book.
So does anyone else have any comments, questions? I'm going to look at the chat again, but otherwise, if not, let me take a quick look. Some thank you for the resources and the comment on the book. and the showcasing. So some nice comments back to the panel. So I appreciate that. Everyone taking the time to do that. I guess unless we have other things to add, I'm going to turn it back to Sheila and she can close us out, and we'll be here for a few minutes after if people have a couple of questions for any of our panelists. So I just again thank you to our group that we put together, our panelists that came on board with us to be able to talk about all this today. So thank you for your time there, and for those who attended, and educators who are continuing to teach during these challenging times. Thank you for taking the time to join us as well.
What an amazing session. Thanks to the panel, thanks to the families and the school staff for joining us tonight. As I said, I will send out the link to the recording along with all the resources. I downloaded the chat, so now I can have access to that. If any of the panel wants to make sure that I get something, then please go ahead and send me an email, and I'll be sending out everything to the registrants probably tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, look for the link and the resources. Always we have information on our pcsb.org/Parent Academy site, upcoming sessions, past recordings, PowerPoint files, resources mentioned. It's a great resource for you. Also, we have the next upcoming session is also something that will be hosted along with our partners at the Juvenile Welfare Board, and it's on Tuesday at 5:30. That's our power hour time. And this one will be Know Your Community Resources. And again, all that information and registration link is on the pcsb.org/Parent Academy site. So thanks again, everyone. Have a nice rest of your evening, and read on.
Great job, guys. Ladies, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Bridget,
Yes, dear.
I have another cousin who's an author. He just released his book on last Friday.
Oh, really? What's it called?
I think it's called The Adventures of Sky.
Oh,
But
wow.
I'll get it from him. I'm waiting on mine in the mail, but I'll get it from him and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, make sure he gives you a double copy so I get one.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes.
All right.
We actually did this thing with Kenny Leon over the summer. You know Kenny Leon.
Mm-hmm.
And he was fantastic. He did, again, we like the whole elders thing because we like to build community. So we did this thing called, it was actually talking about race. So talking with our elders, right?
Uh-huh.
And, Kenny Leon did the movie, what's it called? American Son, where it's all about the kid who gets killed, the mixed race child who gets killed. And so we showed that movie, which was for many of our, we didn't do it for the little ones. We only did it for 5th grade and above. And then Kenny and 3 other, Dr. Couture, I always blank out her last name. She came in, and a few other folks came in, and they had this amazing conversation about race. I'm still trying to cut down the film because there's some things that we want to actually put on the website. Because Couture, for example, gives this really condensed version of the talk. Oh. It is amazing. I mean, it's like literally amazing. Like I was sitting there going, like it's like literally no more than about 5 minutes, and she gives 3 answers, and it just makes total sense. And all the kids they loved it. They absolutely loved it. Yeah, this was a good session today. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, likewise. Thank you guys for arranging. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
As always, you were fabulous. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Irene.
Bridget, you should try freckles.com. It's also free.
What's it called? Freckles?
Freckles.com. It was